Hello and welcome to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are looking at the Lost Light. Someone mentioned that in the comments in the last video and I thought, that's pretty catchy, that's pretty good. So I think we'll call this the Lost Light. Now I do have one clarification to make. As someone pointed out, the JW broadcasting, when you go through the broadcasting list, it has been deleted from there, but you can still find most of the individual talks. So why they did this, I'm not 100% sure. I reckon it's because people are more likely to go back and watch broadcasts or something, and maybe, I don't know, maybe that was the thought process, so erasing it from there, but they didn't erase Stephen Let's Talk specifically. So my notions about them wanting to delete this because of how embarrassing they are, well, looks like I was the one that's embarrassed because I got this completely wrong, and the talk is still available on jw.org. But I thought the last video was still pretty fun and funny. It seems like most people enjoyed it anyway, so I didn't think there was any sense in taking it down, but we can clarify it here and now. We are still going to go through this talk because it's not something I've ever covered on the channel, and in my personal opinion, it is one of the most significant talks that's ever come out of JW broadcasting, and I think it is pretty interesting. It has a lot of fascinating points, especially with the hindsight. So, covering it at the time, it was really shocking. But looking back at it, because of what we know has happened over the last 7 years with Watchtower, I think it is even more interesting to look back at it from, our lens now. So, clarification done. We're still going forward with the with looking at the talks, but there is one section of this broadcast that was deleted completely. So we're going to be covering that in a future episode. So hopefully we can stick on schedule and do this every other day. Don't forget to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's do this thing.
As you might have sensed, I am not shy about this subject. And why not? It is because we have many scriptural examples of Jehovah's faithful servants making known the financial needs of the congregation. Only when supporters of the kingdom know the needs can they respond accordingly. For example, turn with me, please, to Exodus chapter 35. Now think about this as you're turning there. The Israelites were in Sinai. They were marching through a wilderness. They did not have fields or businesses with money flowing in. They just had what they had brought with them when leaving Egypt. Nevertheless, Jehovah instructed them to build a place of worship. Was Jehovah shy about letting the people know about the material needs? Well, read with me Exodus 35, verses 4 and 5.
Now, this is something that I've sort of picked up on a little bit more recently about how the Jehovah's Witnesses don't really seem to worship the God of the New Testament. They sort of get around worshiping some of the things Jesus stood for, not, being rule-based, not trying to make people's lives more difficult, putting people ahead of rules. All of this seems to be lost on Watchtower, which in my understanding is what most Christians are all about. And they seem to worship this ancient Canaanite storm god that saw people wandering around that had just received freedom from being slaves. They were wandering around a wilderness. They had absolutely nothing. And this Canaanite storm god asks them to give them materials for a building. Hey, we got these material needs there, pals. So make sure you take the thing that you don't even have and give it to me. And that seems to be pretty consistent with Watchtower's actions. As we've seen over the last few months, they are even telling Bethelites It was in the last video, but a Bethelite that had been there for 60 years. They showed him donating money. A Bethelite who signs a vow of poverty, who literally has no income, who could get kicked out of Bethel and be left with nothing. And trust me, this happened.
The governing body very much feels the urgency of accomplishing as much as we possibly can in behalf of kingdom interest, knowing that the great day of Jehovah is near. So in an effort to keep you informed of the support that is needed for this great work, I have the following information to share.
Now, we have to remember that these governing body members are people that claim to speak for God, or that God speaks through them as being the only channel of spiritual food. So when he says something like this, we have this great kingdom work. You know, he's trying to contextualize it in a way that it's like, hey, these are the instructions from God. This is what God wants. God wants you to spend money in this way. So when he is saying, oh, we have these, great kingdom works to support kingdom interests. Well, it turns out that him and the other governing body members, when they're over here begging for cash, they weren't actually begging for cash to support kingdom interests, because they literally don't fulfill the promise that they make, the promise that they are going to fulfill God's wishes. They are lying right now. So when we watch these next few segments, just remember, this is a big, fat lie told by Stephen Lett.
We have looked forward to this next fiscal year and projected the expenditures for all of the theocratic initiatives we are scheduling. In doing the math, we found that the amount of money flowing out will be much greater than the amount of money that we have coming in at this time. Well, why is that? Does this represent a lack of appreciation for spiritual things? No, absolutely not. To the contrary, we are witnessing unprecedented enthusiasm among the brotherhood for all the spiritual bounty that is coming our way. We have up-to-date Bibles and an abundance of printed literature. And there's so much appreciation for the new and continually improving jw.org website. From around the world, we receive letters thanking the governing body for JW broadcasting. Many comment that it has brought us closer together as a people.
All right, so let's break this down in a little bit more detail here. This is a clear example of the governing body mismanaging funds. It's plain and simple. There was more money going out than was coming in. That is not on the people to donate and donate and donate. Oh, well, I guess people just aren't appreciative, because he goes off and say, oh no, people are appreciative. Like, we got all this great stuff. So where's the problem? The problem lies with the person managing the funds. And as we've heard and seen, and I think it's even been written, the governing body are the ones that manage the finances for Jehovah. And they are mismanaging the finances for Jehovah. But I wonder who he's going to blame for this. Is he going to say, we are very sorry? It looks like we have made a few mistakes. We've made a few errors in how we've been managing the finances for God's organization. And we would first like to apologize, tell you some of the mistakes we've made, maybe make you aware that millions of dollars are being spent in order to protect ourselves against our horrible practices when it comes to the reporting of CSA. He doesn't do any of that. None of that is going to come out of his mouth, because this isn't an honest talk. Remember, everything coming out of his mouth is just a big lie. And I find it so frustrating to look at how he is presenting this by saying, but there are people that we have an unprecedented amount of people showing appreciation for all of the great things. We have up-to-date Bibles. We have the jehovah.org website. So you have a book and a website. And look, everyone else appreciates it. And the whole thought process behind him contextualizing it in this way is for people to say, oh, have I not been donating enough? He just said that we have an unprecedented amount of people that are showing appreciation. So he must be talking to me, the person that didn't want to donate to $1 billion organization. That is the people he's talking to right now. And how he set this up is so irritating.
There is also excitement about public witnessing using literature carts, and with such great success.
This is just a minor detail, but I can tell you definitively that the Watchtower doesn't provide these witnessing carts and everything for free. A congregation has to pay for them. I've done it myself when I was a Jehovah's Witness. So no, they're not just like, hey, here's your witnessing cart. It comes with a bill.
No, the financial circumstance has nothing to do with a lack of spirituality or appreciation. However, there are some facts that we want to make you aware of. For one thing, the financial needs in the field have accelerated at a pace unlike any time in the recent past. A recent analysis of the need for kingdom halls here in the United States showed that some 1,600 new kingdom halls or major renovations are needed, not sometime in the future, but right now.
For me, this is the real kicker. He says, oh, well, a recent analysis of what's going on just in America alone shows that we need 1,600 new kingdom halls. Where are the kingdom halls? People donated money, you gathered together the funds. Obviously, when these things happen, if you're at an assembly or a convention and you just mention that there's a deficit, it's a guarantee about that you're going to immediately, oh, look, everyone decided to donate a little bit more because we told them there was this need. So they told people, hey, we have this need for more kingdom halls. Well, what happened over the last few years? What has happened in your local area? I did this myself, and it turns out that a few of the kingdom halls that one of the ones that I attended, and a few of the ones that I knew about or my friends were in, have been sold recently. And I live in a pretty dense area where you could generally drive no more than 15 to 20 minutes between kingdom halls. And now that 15 to 20 minutes has increased to 30 minutes to 45 minutes because they've sold off kingdom halls. So this need that he's talking about didn't exist. That's like if I was saying, hey, in order to keep the JW Thoughts channel alive, I've done some analysis that I'm not going to tell you guys about, and I need to raise $3,000 in the next week, okay? And then I get $3,000 of donations, and I say, oh, okay, great. And then I shut the channel down, or I start making less videos. How would you feel if you were someone that helped reach that goal of the $3,000? You'd be like, oh, okay, well, this is going to help, keep the channel alive and moving. And then I cut back to where I just uploaded one video a month.
And worldwide, we are in need of more than 14,000 places of worship, not including ongoing future growth. In the past 15 years, 30,000 kingdom halls have been built. Now, if you figure that up, that averages about 2,000 kingdom halls every year. But in an effort to relieve the serious backlog more quickly, we intend, Jehovah willing, to complete 3,000 Kingdom Hall projects every year going forward. Now, that's a 50% increase. Additionally, adjustments are being made to simplify the Kingdom Hall design in order to accelerate the construction schedule and to save funds. Though the design will be simplified, the sheer number of Kingdom Halls requires considerably more funds in the budget than in times past.
Where are these Kingdom Halls? I think back to when I was still a Jehovah's Witness, and when this came out, my mom was like a watchdog trying to figure out exactly how much each property was making for Watchtower. She was fascinated by, oh, they sold this for $300 million and this one for $100 million. And she's like, wow, they finally got over $1 billion worth of property that they sold. Anyway, it was more than that. But anyway, I think that the perception was, oh, they are making a lot of money off of all of the selling of property here in New York. And then they come out with this thing saying, oh, but we're going to be increasing, oh, wow, they're going to be increasing it? Wow, that's great. My parents, they lived about 3 minutes from their Kingdom Hall, and now they live about 30 minutes from their Kingdom Hall. If there's no traffic, I imagine it's about 45 minutes if there is traffic. So they started increasing the amount of money that they were giving to Watchtower in anticipation that it was going to make it easier for people around the world to have access to a Kingdom Hall. And instead of making it easier for other people, they also sold their Kingdom Hall. Do you see what's happening here? This is blatant governing body member Stephen Lett spitting in the face of Jehovah's Witnesses and saying, hey, we need to collect some more money, guys. We're going to be increasing by 50%. And then saying, thanks for the cash, bozo. I'm selling your Kingdom Hall now and keeping all the money. They're not telling people that they're paying to get airtime on national media outlets. They're not telling people the money that they're spending for settling out-of-court cases for CSA. They're not telling their Jehovah's Witnesses how they're using the money. They lied to them and said, hey, we need to help build more Kingdom Halls. Didn't build any Kingdom Halls, sold Kingdom Halls, and are still not telling people where their money is going.
We just felt that you, dear brothers and sisters, needed to be made aware of these expenditures that we're facing in the coming months and years. We also have heard from circuit overseers and others that some of the brothers and sisters may have a misconception about some of the recent policy changes that have been instituted. For example, all congregations that had a Kingdom Hall or Assembly Hall loan to pay off were informed that their mortgages were canceled. Now, if you think about it, that is amazing, isn't it? All their loans were canceled. Can you imagine a bank telling homeowners that all their loans were canceled and that they should merely send in to the bank each month whatever they can afford? Only in Jehovah's organization could such a thing happen.
Now, this point has been talked about quite a bit amongst the exjw community, but I'll just give you Wally's 2 cents here in the old Lost Light, can't remember the name, Lost Light series here. And first off, as we talked about in the first episode, they sent out a letter to elders saying that, oh yes, these loans are canceled, but people, congregations, need to donate at least as much as they were before. So the minimum was as much as their loan was previously. So this isn't like a cancellation. This isn't this great altruistic act that the governing body did. But I think the funnier aspect is we've already correctly identified that the governing body are the ones that are mishandling funds. And in their mishandling of funds, they're also praising themselves for how they've handled the financial situation of the organization. Only in Jehovah's organization, can you imagine a bank canceling out everyone's loans? Oh my goodness, only in Jehovah's organization. And then if you just look back 3 minutes ago, he's saying, man, we've made some bad mistakes and our financial outlook isn't looking very good. How can you praise your mistake? How can you praise your mistake, Stephen Lett? You guys messed up. You've mishandled the financial situation of the entire organization, and you are sitting there patting yourself on the back for fumbling the bag.
However, according to some of our circuit overseers, some of us took this to mean that the organization had a surplus of funds and thus took this action, as if the loans did not need to be reimbursed.
Truly only in Jehovah's organization will you get crap like this. What a loving, great privilege that we canceled off everyone's debts. We paid off all of their loans. But can you believe these people? These greedy motherfuckers over here saying, wow, we don't have to reimburse the organization for paying off. Which is it? It's not a loving arrangement if you're saying, okay, well, your loan's paid off through the bank, but now you're just going to pay that to us. That's not a loving arrangement. You haven't canceled the loan. The loan still exists. And now you're like, oh, man, circuit overseers around the world, they're telling us, people are like, oh, well, I guess we don't have to pay that back. So stupid and greedy of those people.
So instead of conveying the message that the organization needed less in the way of donations, the intent was really just the opposite. But we have confidence that our hearts will be moved to contribute what we can each month to offset the necessary expense of building new meeting places for our brothers worldwide.
Out of Stephen Lett's mouth himself, the intent of this policy was to raise more donations. This thing that he just got done saying, what a loving arrangement that we have in place now. What a loving thing that we canceled loans and this equalizing can take place. He actually, maybe in a rare moment, a Freudian slip we have here, the intention of it was to convey to Jehovah's Witnesses that they needed more cash.
Another misimpression that has been brought to our attention is that the sale of property in New York City means that fewer donations are needed. To help put things in proper perspective, however, selling one of the significant properties in New York really only covered the operating expenses for the worldwide work for a few weeks. Now, that's one significant property. And in actuality, the sale of property in New York City is basically only financing the construction of world headquarters in Warwick and the purchase of other properties that are needed to facilitate the move from Brooklyn in the future.
Now, as I said before, my mom was kind of obsessed with the selling of property in New York, and she was always, giving me the whole lowdown. And when this came out, it didn't look too good. And upon me exiting and just trying to throw a few things out there, because my parents would never really listen to any deep, meaningful conversation, this was something that I threw out there because it was something that she was like, wait, that just simply cannot be possible. So just for perspective, and this is what she had shown me, is the amount of money that they got from selling of their property. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I probably should have looked it up, but if I'm remembering correctly, it was over $1 billion, and I think it was even closer to 1.5 billion, but just in that sort of ballpark. Now, the most expensive, as far as costs go, building in the world was the Burj Khalifa. Here's a few little stats about the Burj Khalifa, just so you can have an idea. When he says, well, it's about how much it costs to build our new property in Warwick, which is ridiculous that he's comparing that to the most expensive building in the, I mean, I think there's more expensive, it got gold domes, but anyway, the tower stands at 2,722 feet tall with 163 stories above ground level. It has been estimated that it would take one person working 24 hours a day nearly 19 years to climb all of the Burj Khalifa stairs to the top floor. Oh, the construction of the Burj Khalifa began on January 22nd, 2004. The official opening took place in 2010. The total cost of construction was US $1.5 billion, with over 100 million man-hours spent on its completion. This makes it one of the most expensive buildings in the world, as well as being the tallest man-made structure ever built at 2,700 feet. It has 163 habitable floors with 88 elevators and 57 escalators to transport visitors to the observation deck at the 124th floor. Stephen Lett is suggesting that their Warwick move cost as much as this. Roughly. Maybe a couple $100 million off, but when, like, he is so completely delusional in saying this, and it's, I don't even know what to make of it. I literally don't know what to make of it. Either someone is scamming him, either there's someone at Bethel that is stealing from Watchtower to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, or he's just lying to people about this. I don't know which it is, because maybe the person doing the books for him is just getting real nice and fat rich off of these building projects and the absolute ineptitude of the governing body approving it and just rubber stamping and signing off on everything. But I don't think that that would be an appropriate use of donated funds. But for him to suggest that that would basically be the same amount of money, I remember my mom bringing this up to me. Like I said, she was like, wait, how much was that Burj Khalifa hotel? She was like, there is no way, there is a 0% chance that it cost that much for their facility in upstate New York as the most expensive building in the entire world. Even an ordinary Jehovah's Witness like my mom could put this together. And here he's saying it on the broadcast. Again, I don't know why they haven't just eviscerated this from all memory, because it's so completely silly. And this will complete another episode of The Lost Light. In the next one, I think we're going to be getting into the real story here, and that is the video that has been completely erased from the Watchtower archive, and that's a video about Cameroon. So I will see you next time. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Now, this is something that I've Now, this is something that I'm sort of developing or understanding a little bit more fully, and how Jehovah's Witnesses... Oh, it's easy. For Christ's sake. So this is something that I've sort of picked up on a little bit more recently, about how the Jehovah's Witnesses don't seem to worship the New Testament God. They... Zizi, for the love of Christ, please stop. Fine, I'll just deal with the echo. Oh, fuck. Oh, my Lord. Zizi, no! Zizi, stop! Oh my God.